Hey guys, welcome to Reporting 101. Today I'm going to be running you through how to utilize reports to get the most out of your data, some of the basics around the kind of the UI, the controls, as well as a bit slightly more technical piece to help you select the right report for your report. So yeah, without further ado, let's hop in. First thing I'll do, I'll minimize myself so you guys can see the actual presentation. So yeah, this is reporting 101. First thing I'm going to hop to is talk about objects and relationships. So within Salesforce, you've got your standard basic objects. So the best way to think about an object is just a container that contains records. So for example, you have your leads. So the object is called leads and it contains all your leads. Same thing with your accounts, your contacts, and your opportunities as well. These are the basic ones I talk about. Depending on what your business does and the setup of your Salesforce, you might have some custom ones as well. For example, if you're working, say, in a conferencing business and the business uses Salesforce, that business might have a custom object such as events, conferences, and all of those may connect differently. So what I want to do is teach you about objects and relationships. So no matter what your Salesforce looks like, you have some sort of intuition or good idea of how to select the correct record, correct report type. So let's look at what we have here. So we have our leads. So with the standard Salesforce setup, your leads is like a standalone object which isn't connected with anything else, and they kind of live on their own. And then you have your accounts and you have your contacts. So you can see this little kind of stick here, and you see it as you've got the multiple legs on the end, and that represents the one-to-many relationship. What does that mean? That means that one account is related to multiple different contacts. So if you're, for example, working with the bank of Naeem, you may have myself as a contact, any other VPs as well. And it's a similar sort of relationship with your opportunities as well. So you have multiple opportunities which can be related to one account. And it's good to start thinking about how these objects relate together, as it will slowly start help you put together how reporting works overall. So again, it's not something you have to kind of cement in your brain right now, but it's something good to leave in the back of your head. You can also have many contacts related to an opportunity, and that's through contact roles. Again, this isn't really relevant at this point, but I just want to show you something that's accurate, technically speaking. So yeah, the main things, we've got objects, leads, we've got other objects such as accounts that has a one-to-many relationship with contacts, and then it's the same with opportunities as well. Again, it's just a bit of a technical piece. You don't really need to have it cemented in your brain at this point, but it's just something good to know. So let's hop into Salesforce. So we have a report open here. What I'll do is I'll take you guys to the homepage. This is just kind of a demo, kind of dev org that I've set up. Again, I'll create a video where I'll show you guys how to create your own. But yeah, usually you'd have a tab along the top, which is called reports. If your Salesforce doesn't look anything like this, not to worry. What you can do is click this dial pad here and search for reports. And this will allow you to search for any tab that you have access to. Again, if you search here and reports is still not available, speak to your admin to ask for reporting access because it's down to a permissions thing. So we'll click into reports. And this is our standard kind of report view, and you click into the tab. You have a few things along the left-hand side here. So you have created by me, any sort of reports you've created, private reports, public, all reports, as well as your folders as well. Now, one thing I want to mention is your private reports. Now, private reports is what it says on the tin. Any sort of report that you create and save in that folder is only accessible by you. That means if you were to create a report and share that link with someone else, a colleague, as soon as they click the link, they will not be able to access the report just because it's in the private folder. And that usually catches me out quite often. So I just want to highlight it for you guys. So private reports is only for yourself. Anything else you want to save in the public reports folder or within a folder they can access. Let's look at since we're on the kind of topic of folders, why don't we talk about a folder? So you can create a folder by clicking the new folder button. So you can either do it from reports or folders. So you can see I've already created one called Reporting 101. So let's create a new folder. Then you can let's call it Reporting if I can spell that correctly, reporting 102. And we click here, it automatically pulls it across. Again, that's less work for you. So yeah, so let's give that a save, and that's created your folder. Now, if we go back into all folders, you can see it's here. When you click in, you can see the path it's following. With folders, you can actually control your sharing access. So what does that mean? That means you can control who can see your folder and the reports within it, and by what sort of access level. So what you want to do is you want to click on this little drop down on the right hand side and click share, and that will open your sharing screen. Now you have the option to share by the role, user, role and subordinate, and public groups. What does this mean? So roles would be within your hierarchy. So it may go CEO, head of regional sales, then sales manager, and then the sales rep. So you can select anyone with those specific roles, and roles and subordinates selects anyone at that role level and below. So for example, if we had a sales manager and the sales rep below them, if we select the sales manager role, we can share with that role and anyone below them. And that's how that works. And lastly, we have our public groups. Now you can set up public groups within Salesforce, which is essentially just a group with select members. One that is kind of standard is our all users, so all internal users. So if you want everyone to be able to access this, just simply click this. Now you've selected your users. One thing you want to do is select the level of access. You have 3 levels of access within Salesforce. You've got your view, you've got your edit, and you've got your manage. What do they mean? View, you can only view the reports, you can't edit or anything along the lines of that. Edit will enable the edit permissions, but not deleting. And manage will allow you to do anything. So you can edit the report, delete the report, all of those sorts of permissions. So usually, if it's kind of just reports, pre-built reports you want people to view, you just kind of select the view, and then you want to click share. Now, something to look out for, if you click done, nothing will happen as they've not been added to who can access. So always remember to click share, and then you want to go down and click done. And you can see they've been added here. So that's all our users. And then we click done. And now we've created our reporting folder. Here we are. So once we're within the folder, again, you have the same sort of you can create a new folder and create a new report as well. So yeah, now we'll just go into the reports and actually look at the different features within reporting. Now, what I'm going to do is cover the features in this video rather than actually building a report, which I'll do in a separate video, as I don't want to make this extremely long. So when we click new report, we're taken to the screen here. Now, remember those objects we talked about. This is how we can select the correct report type. So you can see you've got opportunities with products, you've got accounts, contacts and accounts. So remembering those relationships will allow you to select the correct object. So in our case, what we'll do is we'll click leads. And again, you can click through all the different categories you have. You might not have recently used, as you may have not been done reporting before. So if we click into here and then we look for our leads, we can see our leads. You click here and then you're presented with this kind of panel on the right hand side here, and a few useful things. You can see other objects it's used in, and you can also see the field. So if you're after a specific field, you can do that as well. Now what we'll do is we'll click start report, and you're presented with this screen. First thing you want to do, always do this, save it or you lose it. Simple rule. So what I like to do is I click save, and again, give it a name. So you might want to call it my first report. And again, if you click here, it automatically populates that for you. You can give it a description as well. And here is where you select your folders. Now remember, private reports only viewable by yourself, no one else. So we click select your folder. And here is where you can see all of the folders, and you can choose exactly where you want to share it, where you want to save it. So we're going to save it in reporting 102. We want to click select folder, and then you want to click save. And now we've saved our report. As we go along, it will automatically, kind of save. You can click save as you go along as well. And that's how we save our report. So within the kind of report, you have your outline and you have your filters tab. Now, one thing I always like to kind of call these is outline is how you want to visualize your data, and your filters is what particular data you want to see, how you want to restrict what's coming into your report. And again, this is visual, and this is kind of how you want to narrow slash restrict the data that you're pulling in, right? When we look at the filters, you always kind of have basic filters set up, and this might actually restrict yourself from like seeing all of the data. So one thing I like to do is open up the filter first. So what we'll do is we'll click all leads, so we're not restricted to me, and you can see we can refresh to see our data. Another thing I like to do is select update preview automatically. Now, if you're new to reporting and you're doing step by step, I highly recommend using this feature, because that way you can see what all the little tweaks you're doing is, how it's changing your data. When I first started doing reporting, that's what I did. Now that I'm a bit more advanced, I'll do 5-6 things all in one go and then click save and run and so on and so forth. So what you want to do, click that, and every single time you make a change, so we do create a date, we'll go for all time just to get as much data as we can. And you can see it's automatically updated what we have here. And you can see the lead owners, myself, we've got someone from sales user. So if we want to say, for example, see only people, leads that are owned by myself, we can actually click lead owner and we could do equals and we can type in my name. And we have different operators as well. So you can see not equal to, less than, greater than, contains. So the ones for string, so text fields, you want to use something like contains or equals or not equal to are good ones to use. What we'll do is we'll click apply. And again, now you can see everyone that every single lead owner is myself. And then when we go along to the left here, you can see outline. And this is how we can control what our kind of report looks like. At the top here, you got kind of group your rows, and then at the bottom here is you got your standard column. So currently it's just a standard report with no sort of grouping involved. What you can do is you can actually add additional fields in here. So maybe we'll want to add in the created date. So we add in the created date. You can see it's been added in here, and you can actually move exactly where you want them. It can be a bit finicky user doing it here, but you also have the option to move them along here as well. So you can see it takes a bit of time, but you can move them along here as well. So once you've done that, you also have the option to group them by rows. So you may have the requirement where you want to group it by created date, but you want to do it by week. Why don't we grab our created date and move it up into here into group? Any minute now while it's updating. Just my luck, it's taken a while to load. So what I'll do is I'll add it from here. So again, you can drag it from the bottom, or you can click into here and add it in here. And now you can see it's actually grouped them. I'm just going to do a save and run just so you can see. So my first report has been saved. And you can see we have a few reports, but it's not really useful, to be honest, because we can see we've had one created on the 25th, one on the 15th, a couple on the 27th. So if we have reports that are created once from like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it's not very useful to just group them by that. What we might want to see is how to group how many are created over the span of a week. Now, what you can do is once you've grouped something, you can actually click into here and you can sort by. So you can do sort by created date, or how many records you got counting, or you can group by the specific date. So you can do it by calendar week, month, quarter, year, and you have a couple other options as well. So if we go by calendar week, you can see we've now grouped them by the week, which is super useful. So you can see how many were done in this particular week over here. You also have other options such as grouping by column. And what this does is allow you to kind of group it along the column instead of along the rows. It's much easier to kind of show you rather than explain. So what I'm going to do is grab the lead source and drop it in there. As you see this time, it's not caused many issues as last time with the loading. And as you can see, what it's done is it's grouped your leads by the week it was created, and then it's created those columns for your lead sources. So you can see during this particular week, we've had 5 come in through web, 4 from phone inquiry, and you can also see your totals as well. And once you click on these particular values, you can actually see the table inside it as well, which is super useful. And again, that will work on the summaries as well. And this is something which you call a matrix report. And again, I'll be covering different types of reports you have within Salesforce as well in a later video. And lastly, we have a few more kind of options down the bottom here. And what I'll do is I'll kind of exit the kind of matrix report just so we can see it a little bit better. So as you can see, we have our grand totals. And if I just kind of remove this, it will remove your grand totals along the bottom. I appreciate in this particular report is not very useful as we don't have the numbers. And then if we kind of enable that again, you can see your grand totals as well. And you also have subtotals, which is kind of this row here. And again, if I kind of take us into that matrix kind of report, I kind of grab the lead source, I'll pop it up here. You can see if I remove the grand totals, you've lost all the totals there. If I enable that again and kind of take away the detail rows, you can see it's taken away the details. And you also have something called stack summary. And again, this is only really available within the matrix. And again, what it does is it kind of changes the view slightly to show your kind of count rows as well. And this will give you a kind of better visualization of your data. So yeah, let's exit this view, and then and then you got your detailed rows as well. And again, that will just take away all your details within the row. And this is reporting 101. So yeah, thanks for listening. I'll have a couple more videos out as well. So yeah, if you like this, drop a nice comment.